according to Mark chapter 16.
Glory to you, Lord.
When the Sabbath was over, Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James, and Salome brought spices so that they might go and anoint the body of Jesus. And very early on the first day of the week, when the sun had risen, they went to the tomb. They had been saying to one another, "I wonder, who will roll away the stone for us from the entrance to the tomb?" When they looked up, they saw that the stone, which was very large, had already been rolled back. As they entered the tomb, they saw a young man dressed in a white robe sitting on the right side, and they were alarmed. But he said to them, "Do not be afraid. You are looking for Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified. He has been raised. He is not here. Look, there is the place they laid him. But go, tell his disciples and Peter that he was going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him, just as he told him." So they went out and fled from the tomb, for terror and amazement had seized them. And they said nothing to anyone. They were truly afraid. The Gospel of our Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
Please be seated. Whenever hope falls flat on its face, there's this expression we have in English that always seems to be said by someone. What did you expect? In fact, I'm convinced that it's not just English. Every culture, every language has a similar phrase. Every time you tear up another losing lottery ticket, there seems to be your wife telling you, or your spouse telling you, what did you expect? Whenever you're told that something is free and only to discover that there's a hidden cost, you hear those words in your head, well, what did I expect? Whenever a Chicago sports team finishes last, there always seems to be a Wisconsin resident that says, well, what did you expect? Even when tragedy hits, or when our dreams are shattered, life seems to shout right back to us, what did you expect? On that very early Easter morning, that very first Easter morning, we know what those three women were expecting as they approached the tomb of Jesus. For they were bringing oils in order to anoint the body of Jesus. You see, Jesus had died on Friday evening, right before the Passover, right before Sabbath. There was a big holiday, and it was a big rush and a big to-do, and they were really, really worried because Jesus' body had just kind of been quickly wrapped up and put in the tomb because there wasn't enough time to do all the proper ritual stuff before they rolled the stone and covered it, because they had to do that before sun went down because you couldn't work on the Sabbath. And so there they were, walking to the gravesite, to his tomb. They're carrying oils with him, and we know what they're expecting. They're expecting to find the dead body. That's why they're going. This is despite the many times that Jesus had said to them, to the disciples, to everyone who would listen, I'm going to die. This is the plan, but in 3 days, I'm going to raise from the dead. You won't believe it, but it's going to happen. And he said this to them over and over again. But these women, as they're walking to the tomb, I'm sure that they're going through the events that have happened in their mind. I'm sure they're thinking about what happened because it was so excruciating. They're probably thinking that once again, powerful people in this world got their way. This is what we get for rocking the boat. This is what we get for daring to believe. What did we expect? And as they go, they're wondering who's going to roll away the tomb so they can have access to the body, who's going to roll away the stone from the tomb so they can have access to the body. And the one thing they're not expecting is the very thing that they find, an empty tomb. They walk in there and there's no body, yet there is an angel of some sort that is there, a young man who says to them, Jesus is not here, he's risen. Go and tell everyone, tell the disciples and Peter, and let them know what Jesus said has come true. Yet these women, the very mother of Jesus, women have been following him for so many years, didn't believe. They were too afraid. Their first reaction is fear. And they walk away thinking, well, I'm not going to tell anybody, no way. This is the kind of thing that gets you killed, right? Now later on, around, they're going to recover, and they're actually going to tell people. But their first reaction is, I can't believe this. I'm not going to tell anybody. This is too big. This life seems to have taught them, as it teaches us, not to believe these kinds of things. You can't expect this to happen. So many ways our lives are like that. Every time something is going well, we tend to wait till the next shoe drops. Every time we get a raise, we wait for the new medical bill to come. Every time we see one of our children progress, the other one, something seems to go wrong. Too often, life has taught us not to hope, but just to keep plugging away, and then every once in a while, maybe something good will happen. And certainly, life has taught us not to go overboard and to believe the outrageous, despite what other people might claim. I'm going to show you a video. You can ask to watch a video that helps to illustrate what Easter is really all about.
God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life.
Excuse me, son.
Yeah,
What have you got here?
got some birds, some wild birds.
Really?
Yeah,
Where'd you get it?
out in the field over there. There's a field with wild birds.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't mind my asking, what are you going to do with them?
I want to play games with them.
Game?
Yeah, I play games with wild birds, yeah.
What kind of game?
Sometimes I like to put a stick in there, you know, and they'll be like going, caw, 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 like that, you know. And then sometimes I like to ride up to the cage, and I think it's an earthquake, and they love that.
What happens to them after you're done playing games?
Usually I feed them my cat. You know, my cat likes wild birds.
I tell you what, I'm fond of wild birds.
You are?
Yeah, let me buy them from you.
You want to buy my wild birds?
Yeah.
Or no good for nothing. They can't do no tricks or nothing. And when you open this gate, they're just gonna fly away.
How much?
You're serious?
I'm very serious.
$5.
All right.
$10.
Okay.
$20.
They're wild
They're
birds.
exotic birds.
You found them in a field.
An exotic field.
All right. That's all I got.
See you looking at the cage.
Yeah. What do you got in there?
You know what's in there?
Mankind.
Found them in the garden. Funny thing is, they put themselves in that cage. I had nothing to do with it.
So what's your plans?
I'm gonna play games with them.
Games. What kind of games?
All kinds of games. I'm going to put games into their life that they think is going to bring them so much pleasure. I'm going to turn the world upside down. I'm going to make right seem wrong and wrong seem right.
And then?
They'll be damned for all eternity.
My father and I, we're very fond of mankind.
I know.
We want them to have access to us. So, I'm going to pay for their freedom.
You want these humans.
Yeah.
You know they promised you everything before. They're going to turn their backs on you.
Some will, and some won't.
You're serious.
Oh, I'm very serious.
It'll cost you your tears,
I know.
your blood.
Yeah,
It'll cost you your life.
I know.
You're willing to give your life.
I'm willing to give what it takes.
This reminds us about what Jesus did for us on the cross. He picked up that wooden cross and carried it to Mount Calvary because he loved you and me.
In this video, we see how the good news is so wonderfully illustrated. We are like birds that are trapped in a cage. We are in a prison. And God is so passionate about us that God's willing to pay an outrageous price just to set us free. The problem is that so often, even though God has set us free, we remain trapped inside a cage, an open cage. But we choose still to live there. We're trapped by our fear. We can't trust. Too many people, even people in churches, have hurt us too much to actually allow us to even think about checking to see if that cage door is open. We live trapped in a cage because we see ourselves as betrayers, as people who cause too much hurt and pain ever to warrant freedom. We're trapped in cages because we've had too many false expectations that have just not come true. To actually dare to believe that God would want us to be free. In our gospel story, we see all three of these things: fear, dashed expectations. We see people who betray Jesus. People just like us. People who God died for. God's answer to our tangled problem, our difficulty in believing and hoping, is always the same. It always has been. It's the resurrection. Because in the resurrection, we discover hope. In the resurrection, we learn that death doesn't get the last word. Love does. In resurrection, we see that the utterly impossible really can happen. We encounter the truth that we are so valuable that God does the unthinkable. God sacrifices God's very own self to break the power that sin and death has over our lives. Our lives really do matter. In the resurrection, we meet the creator of the universe who gives us new life. Maybe not the life we have always fantasized about, but the life that we so desperately need. In the resurrection, we see that despite all that is broken and wrong with this world and our lives, God really does come through. And if God can do this, then maybe God can even handle bringing peace and healing to my life. In the resurrection, we see that all of us get an unlimited number of second chances. Even if we've blown it before, no matter how many times, God knew we would do that. And God was still willing to do this. In the resurrection, we see freedom. Freedom to be in relationship with God, to talk with God, to be led by God, to have access to God's power, to discover what real intimacy and love looks like. And if there's one thing I've discovered, it's the more that I invest in this relationship with God, the more that I hang out with God, and the more I allow God to take control of my life, the more abundant hope becomes, and the easier it becomes for me to truly live. On this day we celebrate. We celebrate that Jesus really has truly risen. He has risen indeed. Hallelujah. Jesus, we can do better than that. Jesus is risen. Hallelujah.